How's it going, everybody? And welcome to the inaugural edition of Haylight's Sunday Snippets. I am your host, Daniel Mendonca. You may know me from the If You Build It, Will They Learn podcast, or our weekly edition of Knowledge Now Wednesdays that we put up on our YouTube channel. I'm here to add a little bit of some micro content to your weekend, each and every weekend, to talk about things that are maybe a bit more tactical for your day-to-day. I know each week in the podcast, we get to theorize and talk high level about things, but I'm here today to talk a bit more tactical. And going off our subject and our topics that we've talked about for the past few weeks of creativity, innovation, KPIs, objectives, and other things, today we're going to dive deep into retail. And not just retail specifically, but retail sales. So how do you get information in front of those who represent your brand? So as a company, you may sell products to companies like Best Buy, you may sell products to companies like Dick's Sporting Goods, or if you're in Canada, Sport Check, The Source, or others. And how do you train them? That way they can be creative, innovative, and hit on your key objectives as they speak to customers who are walking into the store. So when starting, it's really going to make sure you hit on three main points with the sales associate. Number one is, what are the core features and functionalities of the product? Information is king nowadays. You can pull up your phone, you can get information right on the fly. You can go to the website, you can go to YouTube, the internet, and find information about your product. So I'm not just talking about like the individual specs. I'm talking about the core features and functionalities. What makes your product an industry leader? What makes your product better than the rest in the field? And you want to make sure the sales associates have that specific information in a just-in-time format so they can get it on their device, get it to them as they need it through the sales process. Number two is identifying just who that customer is. There are tons of people nowadays that walk into the store. Some are browsing for information, some are looking for a gift, some are looking for something for themselves. But the key is, everybody's different, everybody has different needs. So when you're talking about an individual product, you want to make sure you provide a piece of content or training to that audience that speaks specifically to who the audience is. How do you know the middle-aged woman who walks in is looking to buy a gift for her daughter is the person you need to talk to about your product? How do you know the small business owner who walks into the store is looking for a certain product is the customer for what you're trying to sell? You want to make sure that the people you are arming with information understand that clearly. And lastly, and definitely not least, maybe even the most important part, is overcoming objections. So in the sales process, nobody takes what they hear from a sales associate without thinking it over or understanding or asking questions. And what you want to look at is making sure those sales associates and those individuals are armed with the information they need to overcome those objectives, highlight the competitive advantages of your product, and ultimately complete the sale. And these are all things you want at the fingertips of your sales associates. There's obviously a ton of tools out there, learning experience platforms, quick, easy sales apps, LMSs, and other things in the learning, training, marketing space that you can use. But overall, three core pieces of content, along with some marketing materials that you have, will highlight an innovative, creative way to hit on your sales objectives when you talk about your retail training strategy. So just a quick summary of this first edition of Sunday Snippet. When you're putting out content in the retail space and you're looking to promote your product to individuals, you want to make sure they understand the core selling features, the core competitive advantage functionalities. You want to make sure they can identify who the specific customer is in the marketplace. And last but not least, you want to make sure they're armed and able to overcome those objections to complete the sale with the users. Thanks everybody for listening to this week's Sunday Snippet. I'm excited for another way to distribute content across all our platforms this year. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see everybody next Sunday. Have a great weekend.